This is one of those videos that are just like coming straight from the heart, pretty much. Nothing in particular related to gaming, but I'm gonna have some like Battlefield 2042 gameplay in the background. I recently just played a match on the map Exposure, which I think is a pretty mid-tier map. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of it, especially in the 64 mode. But in 128, it's actually a pretty okay map. I'll be using like a Scar H with that weird grenade thing that's like stuck to it. You can't even really take it off. It's kind of just forced on there. But anyways, I want to make this video kind of like about um how I feel. Ever since this year began, I've started to get like this weird, almost like 2016-ish kind of energy from this. I don't know, and it started on like day one as well too. Like it's January 1st, day one on 2024. I started to feel like this really odd but nostalgic energy that I remember distinctly feeling when 2016 rolled around. I don't know exactly if this is sort of a personal omen for changes to come or things to come, because I remember vividly like 2016 was a year that a lot of shit changed in my personal life. I ended up becoming friends with someone who I kind of it's kind of hard to really talk about that person, but that person back then was actually pretty special to me. But I'm feeling that energy again, and I want to know if anyone else feels it as well, because I have a lot of nostalgia for 2016, 2017, that general time period. Like there's so much going on back then that really felt special. Kind of reminds me how I remember 2012 feeling, or 2009. Like I have certain periods in my life where they just had like a very distinct feeling, and they called back to certain memories and certain. And it's not nostalgia. And it's not like being blinded by nostalgia. I mean, I have a pretty objective view on the memories that I have. Like I know that not everything was fine and dandy back in 2012 when I lived up north. I know, the world wasn't doing too well, at least in America, with the 2008 financial crisis. But I I don't know. I've just been feeling some kind of way. Playing Battlefield 2042 a lot probably oddly enough adds on to the feeling, because I get this weird Battlefield 1 kind of feeling from this game. Like it doesn't feel, and this is ironic too, it doesn't feel as empty as Battlefield 5 did. It has like a soul to it, especially on the current gen version of the game. Like on PS4 this game is basically unplayable. But on PS5 and Xbox Series X, this game is actually pretty damn fucking good, and it kind of reminds me of like how much fun I used to have on BF1 back in the day before that game got extremely sweaty and abandoned pretty much by most of the community when BF5 rolled around. There are a handful of people that I still know from that sort of period of my life. Like I have a friend on Twitter, or I guess they call X, or at least that's where I met him. He's a pretty good friend. But me and him basically met during the peak of the popularity of a game called Clash Royale, which I used to make YouTube videos about. I don't remember. I don't think I ever really made any quality content related to that game back in the day. I think all I did for some period of time, oddly enough, was I would just start like upload raw gameplay with music in the background, because I had like this really weird insecurity about my voice back then, because my voice up until I turned 16 was pretty bad. My voice really only started to become semi-tolerable, at least to me, after I turned 17. And I'm 21 currently, turning 22 later this year. And yeah, so back then, like I did like the occasional commentary. I did occasional commentaries back in like 2013 as well, and 2014, but that was on like another channel that I haven't uploaded on like since forever, and I don't really have any subs on there. But I'd have like an occasional sort of commentary. I think I had like two videos that I did commentaries on, Clash Royale related. At least Clash Royale gameplay was in the background, and I think I ended up deleting those because, as I said, I mean the voice on top of the what else was it? It was some other element that made me delete those videos, and it must have been like I don't know. I must have hated the videos or some shit. But yeah, back then that's when I started drinking, Monster Energy. That's when I got into the drink, and I still drink it to this day, like damn near daily, because it's a fucking damn good drink. And even back then as well, they had this flavor of brisk that they called blueberry lemonade half and half that they discontinued in 2018. And I swear to God, it was like the best non-energy drink that I think I've ever had. Like, it beats out any flavor of Coke. It beats out any flavor of Mountain Dew, fucking, and any other flavor of brisk, really. Because like brisk is good, generally speaking, like the regular default lemonade flavor. But there was something about that version that beats out like everything. Even today, like they have not made a drink that comes close to that. Earlier last year, I ended up emailing someone over at Brisk, and I basically asked about like, oh, could you bring back the whole blueberry lemonade thing? And they said they'll pass it on to someone in the team. And basically, what ended up happening is they got it, and they're like, okay, and they decided to basically come out with another blueberry flavor, but they completely missed the original flavor's sort of signature taste. They didn't make another blueberry lemonade half and half flavor. It was like some weird blueberry raspberry shit or some shit. It was honestly not all that good. It was okay, but it wasn't really as good as the good old 2016, 17, 18 drink that I so fondly remember. I remember back then as well, you know, YouTube culture was quite different. Meme culture was quite different. The world of politics wasn't so serious yet. I mean, things were serious to a degree, especially if someone was like on the left and they're like, oh, this Trump guy's Antichrist or whatever the hell. But generally speaking, like YouTube culture was pretty lax. I remember, you know, channels like Filthy Frank, and there was a lot of old Clash Royale and Clash of Clans YouTubers that I used to, you know, watch a lot. There was a couple of them that I knew as well. And Call of Duty content creators like Chaos X Silencer back in the day. I don't know if he still uploads. I think the last video of him that I saw was last year, but he was a pretty good content creator back in the day. I don't think he actually changed his format either. The last time I saw a video of his, it was like legit as if he was uploading as if it was still like 2015, 2016. It's actually kind of a weird sight to see nowadays, especially given how every YouTuber has updated their format. Every YouTuber does like this hypercut shit, or they just have a weird way of doing their commentaries. You know, it's hard to explain. At least it's not as bad as what it was a few years ago, where, and this might have been like around 2021, at least from my own anecdotal sort of personal experience. A lot of YouTubers had that weird Fortnite fucking way of talking, I guess, where everyone sounded like a Fortnite content creator, screaming in their mic, being overhyped about everything. You know, like the thumbnails for the thumbnails for those videos would be crazy. You know, like some fucking mouth wide open screaming with like big bright fucking text, or just, I don't know, some crazy shit. It seemed like everyone back a year or two ago was like fighting, like actually literally fighting over people's attention, and it got to a point where it directly cut into the quality of the content itself. You know, especially with TikTok rolling around and becoming popular, it just, everyone's attention spans went complete haywire. And it's even reflected in my current day YouTube stats. You know, I don't think my content is too bad. I know it's not good, but it's definitely not something that's unbearable, I don't think. But despite this, my viewer retention is pretty wonky, especially compared to back in the day when like way back when I had even less viewers and my content was like genuinely bad. I remember the viewer retention was always pretty reasonable. Like, people would click on the video if they were genuinely interested in it, and they would kind of watch, like, on average, maybe like 40% of it, like 40% of the video, like maybe a little less. Nowadays, though, on some of my uploads, it's like the average viewer retention will be 20% or less, or slightly more. Like my recent upload where I had Hitman 3 gameplay on, which I swear to God, like, there's something about that game that's just cursed whenever I use it for a commentary. I've actually made videos with Hitman 3 gameplay before. I don't know if I deleted those or not, but I know that I've done it before. And every time that I do, it's like people see Hitman and they just click off, pretty much. But anyways, on that video, the viewer retention, like the average viewer retention, I shit you not, was like 1 minute and 21 seconds. And it just stayed at that, like, the entire time. Like usually viewer retention kind of oscillates based on how long the video has been out. If your dedicated subscribers watch the video as soon as it comes out, like the viewer retention will be insanely high, and then when it starts to get rolled out to just random people on the YouTube homepage, that's when it lowers a little bit because it's being kind of, you know, sent to a more general audience across different sort of genres of YouTube, or, you know, something like that. But people's attention spans are fried nowadays compared to like 2016, 17. People seem a lot more serious nowadays. People seem angry, resentful, wanting some kind of like revolutionary change in every aspect of life. And I can understand that, you know, coming from someone who lives in the US, this is a pretty archaic country with archaic systems, archaic, you know, political systems. And I'm personally someone who thinks that the capitalistic sort of economic model is pretty archaic. I'm no diehard communist or socialist, but, you know, when you look at everything objectively, it becomes quite obvious that shit just kind of has to change. You know, like things can't really go on like this. Like maybe we should introduce like a universal basic income. Maybe we should introduce like some sort of safety nets. Maybe we should introduce some kind of measures to increase job security. Something like that. Like I liked a lot of Bernie Sanders' ideas back in 2016. I liked a lot of Andrew Yang's ideas. I like a lot of RFK Jr.'s ideas. I don't think he'll be elected. I don't think he even has a chance, to be honest, given the fact that he's obviously not going to be as popular as like Trump or Biden, but he's still a good candidate. You know, he has a lot of good ideas. There's always like that third wheel in the political race. You know, every presidential race, there's always been that third wheel that we all secretly know just won't really be as popular and won't have any real chance at actually winning. But we still want to support them. We still want to, you know, retweet their little promotional videos on Twitter or Instagram or something. I don't know. Another thing that really comes to mind is music. I'm a fan of music. I think music is great. I mean, it's a great medium for expressing yourself. It's a great medium for funnily enough, therapy. Music can be therapy. Music can be therapeutic in multiple ways. It can help you get through depression. It can help you kind of fit a certain mood. It can help you pull out of a mood. I occasionally like to listen to different genres like rock or metal or even smooth jazz, especially older jazz, because like newer shit's kind of a little weird sometimes. Spotify kind of recommended me a lot of weird shit. I sometimes listen to 90s Memphis rap, which I think is genuinely fucking good. It's pretty dark, but pretty good in my opinion. And some like just older stuff from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. I had a phase where I started listening to like 40s music. Not half bad, honestly. But when you look at what most people listen to nowadays, and this is kind of true, you know, going back the last 10 years, really, like there's like a gradual sort of change in what the average person seems to listen to, at least again in my own anecdotal sort of experience where I live, the people I live, you know, by, and at least the social circles that I've sort of had exposure to growing up in school. I noticed that a lot of people got into rap, but not good rap, not good hip hop even, like stuff that I would really consider to be actually bottom of the barrel. I gave this music like a lot of chances, right? Like people at school would be listening to so-and-so artists, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna listen to them too. So I plug in my headphones, you know, back when phones had fucking headphone jacks, and I would listen, right? I would listen to these songs, and I just remember, even back then in 2016, the rap was genuinely bad. It wasn't, like, usually if you listen to a song from a genre that you're not really into, you can kind of understand, like, why someone might like it, or why people might find it enjoyable. But in this case, I couldn't find a single redeeming element. Like, these songs are the kind of songs that might fit in the background of, like, a police chase scene in a movie, or something. But listening to it as, like, an actual song, unironically, just was so weird because these songs were genuinely bad. And when you look at these songs nowadays in the rap genre and the hip hop genre, they've actually only gotten worse. You would think maybe it would evolve a little bit, but now like there's this new subgenre called like drill, and there's like drill in different you know, parts of the fucking country, like Chicago drill, New York drill. I'm sure there's Florida drill, which is probably like the most insane shit ever. But when you listen to that, it's actually so bad it's embarrassing. I have a family member who is a fan of that kind of music, and every time I hear them listen to it, it's like I feel a sense of secondhand embarrassment, because it almost seems to me like a phase, like how everyone goes through like their emo phase. You know, I went through it in 2012. Everyone goes through like certain phases, right? This feels distinctly like music that you would listen to going through like a certain phase in life growing up. The scary part is there are some people that genuinely are well into adulthood, like well into their 30s, who listen to this music unironically. People at red lights, I hear people listen to that kind of music all the time. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, fucking every race, right, listens to this kind of music. And it doesn't matter who is in the car. It doesn't matter who is blaring it from some Bluetooth speaker. I cringe when I hear it. I cringe when I see them listen to it. I cringe when I see them pretend they enjoy it. I once asked somebody who listens to this music if they genuinely enjoy it or not, and they told me like they just don't. They kind of listen to it as like background audio when they're walking home from school, or like, and this is even back in like 2017. I saw this kid walking home from school, and he did the stereotypical shit. You know, both of us were walking in the same direction, and he turned on his Bluetooth speaker, and he started blaring like this artist I've never heard of before. It's like some smaller niche shit artist that just, you know, just generic beats, generic lyrics, generic autotune. And as he started to listen to it, I started to like wonder, like, you know, should I ask him about this? Like, should I ask him like who it is that he's listening to, if he enjoys it or not? And I eventually kind of pepped myself up enough to actually ask him, like, do you actually enjoy this? Just with a straight face. And he was honest, and he just said no. Just, it's background audio. It's background audio when you're walking home from school, and I guess he doesn't want to use headphones because he wants to seem cool as he's walking home, and he wants everyone to think that he's like, you know, some cool kid. I'm sure that's the reasoning behind why everyone listens to this kind of music with loud Bluetooth speakers. It's everyone wants to be accepted socially, and especially nowadays with people being like more isolated than ever. Ironically, you know, given that COVID's really not a problem anymore, everyone's more isolated than usual. People's personalities are kind of grinded down to like a very generic sort of copy and paste format. So everyone replaces genuine personality traits with like perceived interests. Like, oh yeah, I'm into this niche SoundCloud artist. Yeah, cool, sweet. And they kind of expect like something to come out of that when really almost nothing does. People would rather take sort of like the easy route with that kind of stuff rather than actually try to form a personality or be yourself. People are scared to be yourself. You know, people are scared to be themselves. That's one thing I want to really talk about as well, that I noticed. I really wanted to like kind of talk about for a while now. And I guess now I have that freedom given the fact that I'm changing like the format of my videos. I'm changing like what I'm making videos on. People nowadays, I don't know if it's just me, my personal anecdotal observations. I don't know if this is like a widespread phenomenon, especially here in America, in American culture. But I kind of noticed that like people have a very odd attitude towards sincerity. You know, like if someone cries about something, or if they express any sort of sincere emotion that sort of comes out maybe at a slightly inappropriate time, it seems like people nowadays are more apt to point and cringe, or point and shame, and point and laugh. And I can't help but feel like that has, and obviously like I'm not really wording this properly. There's no real way to really word this unless you've seen this, unless you've kind of secondhand experienced it, or even firsthand experienced it. But I can't help but feel like that contributed greatly to this like general, like this very generic like wave of personalities that people are forming nowadays. Like people just, as I said earlier, don't want to be themselves. They don't want to listen to music that they actually enjoy, at least on a speaker or publicly. You know, they don't want to, like some guys don't want people to know that they enjoy certain 80s pop songs or certain songs from certain genres. Like some guys are insecure about that, you know, I'm sure women as well. And instead of just expressing themselves, they just want to be generic, just to be on the safe side of things. They just want to avoid standing out. They want to be pretty much just another fish in the crowd, not out of like actual sincere desire to be sort of unknown or hidden, but out of fear, out of like genuine fear of judgment, of just being different. And this is reflected in a lot of smaller YouTubers as well. I know back in the day, you know, when you watch a smaller YouTuber, they might be a little awkward. You know, they're still figuring out the format. They're still figuring out like how to word things, how to do their commentaries, how to write their scripts, if they do scripts, what to really do. And they might be a little awkward at first, but like generally speaking, they kind of warm up to it. I feel like I've warmed up to it. It took a while to do it, by the way, but I feel like I've warmed up to this kind of stuff. But a lot of people nowadays, they don't. I see a video from a smaller YouTuber, and it's like they're actually afraid to express their opinion. They're actually afraid to talk the way they want to talk. They're afraid to say things that they want to say, and they want to be like this more. They want to be generic. They want to have the same generic music in the background of their commentary, or if they even do music, they want to have the same way of talking. They want to do like that hypey Fortnite. Oh my god, guys, I literally just fucked a guy in the ass, you know, that kind of shit. People would rather just do that instead of just being themselves. I know that I've probably been talking about the segment for like way too long, but yeah, that's basically just that. But before this video gets too long, I'm just going to wrap it up here because I feel like it's just been kind of going on for a bit too long. I should have probably maybe scripted this video and got to like certain things, you know, certain topics faster, certain sort of talking points faster. But I just wanted to make like a little commentary that was more sincere, more just like kind of candid, because I genuinely enjoy doing this. I enjoy making commentaries that are, you know, covering topics that I'm interested in. I had a very hard time for a long time sort of pushing myself to make a video, because like literally, I mean, how many times can you make a video on why Call of Duty is dead, or Overwatch is dying, or microtransactions are bad, you know, like that kind of stuff. At least the way microtransactions are done nowadays. How many times can you really like make a video like that and not want to just like throw yourself out of a window? You know, like I see a lot of YouTubers that I used to watch back then. Like, I'm not going to name any names, but there was like this guy, this British guy that I used to watch back in the day, and he made Call of Duty rants. I guess you could call them rants. He was just kind of mainly pointing out like how Activision's kind of like pretty incompetent, and you know, all the weird greed and stuff, all the shady stuff. I recently checked out his channel. He's still doing it. He's still making the same videos. There's even an American YouTuber that I watch that still does this kind of videos, and I can't help but think like, man, how does someone do this? I'm actually a little jealous, you know, because if I could make tons of money making content like that, I think I would do it, you know. But at the same time, that's maddening. It's maddening for me. It's maddening for it could be for anyone really. I mean, maybe it's maddening to them and they're just not honest about it. But yeah, that's about it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.